most schools across the country started school this past Tuesday. 0 to 60 in a half a second here.
Dude, there's a rocket ship happening right now. We're not 0 to 60 anymore, baby, especially in some of these states where they are removing cell phones from schools. And I'm on one mission this year. One of my big missions is talk to kids about cell phones in school, to listen to them.
Not to preach.
Yeah. Well, let me give you an example. As I ended last school year, I started having this conversation because I knew this was coming. Probably 3 of the young ladies that I spoke to at that sunrise breakfast brought this up. First thing they bring up, what happens when there's a shooter comes into the school? I want to be like, what do you mean? But I had this conversation with young people, and I stopped doing that. And I had this conversation at the end of last school year. Started having the cell phone conversation. It's a big conversation with you and I. It's big. I'll try and just get right to the heart of it. There's so much, man. I'm just going to pause a little bit.
I was going to say, you and I could do a podcast.
Yeah, I know. But let me just get this out of my head because people that are touching kids in schools and districts and superintendents and all this school boards, they need to understand something fundamental that they can't understand. As I talked to young people at the end of last school year preparing for this, that's the topic they want to talk about. And immediately we want to brush it off. Well, statistically, that's not going to happen in your school. But that's not the point. The point is fear has been driven into their hearts. And when I hear young people say, when I go into a classroom and there's a little window slit in the door, I make sure I sit where a shooter can't see me. I had a conversation with a young person last year, and this young person said, I know where my girlfriend is 100% of the day. I have her schedule memorized. So when the shooter comes in, I can get to her and protect her.
When
the shooter comes in, I can get and protect. So I don't care if you think it's a bunch of hocus pocus or nonsense. That's the mindset that our children have in going into education today.
Unreal.
And how are we going to fix it? We're going to put more security guards, take away guns. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. That is such a myopic, and I don't get in fights over this stuff. But I learned these things by listening to young people. The thing that changed me was this. I was at a school where something awful happened. Phone removed. It ends in the unimaginable. I think there's a chance it might still be here because of what Rick taught me. You have to get through that moment because that's all it is. When someone makes the decision to do the unthinkable, some of the research says that they do it within 10 minutes. And it's just a moment you have to get through. That's it. The issue hasn't been fixed. You're still going to be sad, depressed, anxious, but you just have to get through that moment. Mm-hmm. And what's the one thing that gets a kid through a moment? Their friends. That's what got you through moments when your buddies were like, don't do it, man. Don't punch a hole in that wall. Don't punch that kid because you're pissed and angry. This phone is a connection to their friends. That's how they get that keep and get and communicate that relationship. You may not like it. I don't like it. But the first thing you need to do as a adult is look in the mirror if you're a Gen Xer and say, you caused this mess. You did. What do you mean? No, I didn't. They didn't put the phones in their hands. They didn't put the tablets in their hands. We can talk about the addiction, the sleep deprivation, and all this other stuff if you want to. But you did it to them. And now my big kick, and I'm going to get myself in big trouble for this year, I got a whole roll of stickers. I hope they're here today. I'm cell phone free. You know who they're for? For me. I'm going into school this year, and I'm cell phone free because the kids are. How many teachers are willing to do that? And I'm a defender of teachers. I love teachers. I say that teachers are the most important people in North America today. Out of everybody. Come on, Tom. They spend more time with kids than their own parents. And when you talk about moral fabric, the moral fabric of our teachers is what's given to our children. Because we're too busy going to soccer games and doing this and doing that. And I'm not beating parents up. I just see it. And teachers are giving this moral code that, should have been written on this kid's heart from childhood. And there are many great parents that are doing that. But you're going to go into a school and you're going to be a teacher and say, oh, wait a minute, I'm mature, I can handle this. Number one, sister, brother, you're as addicted as most kids to your phone, just like me. But number two, man, you think that just because you tell them to do it, they're going to do it? No. They have to see you do it. That's how it works. Have some guts. Put your phone away all day, teach. Oh, I'm using it for work. Do you know how many hundreds of auditoriums and this is not, again, it's not a criticism, that I've sat in the back when Rick takes over and I see teachers just doing this. I'm pretty sure it's not lesson plans. I'm pretty sure it's social media, these variable reward, algorithms and systems that are being fed to them just like everyone else. But
Reels.
The point is, and I'm not against it, man, we have to figure this out together. And every generation changes because of the fluid intelligence that the younger generation that comes into being has. Socrates figured this out. So what they do, they killed him because he was tapping into that intelligence. We all have this crystallized intelligence that continues to rise our whole lives. But once your fluid intelligence is gone, it's gone. But you can get it back if you shut your mouth and you listen to young people. Bro, I'm not naive. I had 4 kids, and my youngest is 21. They're wrong most of the time. But if you pay attention and you pick out those kernels of wisdom that the universe brings in through fluid intelligence, man, you can just do some cool stuff. You got to coach young people differently and say, man, I tried that. That piece doesn't work, but man, you're onto something with that piece. And man, young people are the secret. And that's the Sweethearts and Heroes message, right? Because it's about empowering young people to be the change, to helping them develop that moral code within. Immanuel Kant said, 2 things fill my heart with the ever sense of awe and wonder: the starry skies above and the moral code within. And that's written indelibly on the heart, this moral code. But it has to be grown. It has to be like a garden. It has to be watered and tended because it's fragile. When you can help a young person develop that in the midst of this unbelievable intelligence that they're exploding, this wonder beam that's just shining from them that we shut down, man, you could do anything.